If you wanna find me, yeah, I'm in the front row. Got my 2 tickets on me, I'm in the front row. It's the best place to be, I'm in the front row. Best place to be, yeah. If you wanna find me, yo, I'm in the front row. Got my 2 tickets on me, I'm in the front row. It's the best place to be, I'm in.
What's up, yo? Welcome back to the In the Front Row YouTube channel. There's another exciting episode of Double Trouble for you.
This is a good one.
Yes, one of your favorite players is the subject of today's episode. We are going to be discussing in just a moment. Before we start that, go ahead and subscribe down below. Hit that notification bell so you get all of our live videos, our videos that we put up, our content. Go ahead and follow us on social media at In the Front Row LA, as well as us. Our links will be down in the bio to keep up with everything that we are doing. Today's episode is kind of an emergency taping episode, I would say, because one of your favorite players made headlines over the past few days. Damian Lillard, according to Yahoo Sports, Chris Haynes, Damian Lillard reportedly might want out of Portland, and a lot of factors contributing to this decision. He's unsure if they are or can be a championship contender. Lillard, you know, the incapability of possibly winning a championship is part of the factor. Also, the head coaching search was as well. The Portland Trailblazers, have hired Chauncey Billups as their next coach. Despite allegations of a 1997 sexual assault allegation, Lillard did have a relationship with Billups, according to Chris Haynes, but had no prior knowledge of the allegation. A lot of news coming out of Portland, especially with their star player. Should Damian Lillard stay in Portland?
No. My boy should want out. I thought he should want out after, like, not this season, the season before that at least. It's been, what, 8 years now that he's been in Portland. Obviously all with Terry Stotts, but they've obviously moved on. For me, Damian Lillard's never going to win a championship in Portland. If your aspirations or goals or, before you end your career is to win a championship, I think you should want out. The only problem with Damian Lillard is he has been very outspoken about this in the past, is he doesn't like super teams. And he's been very, very outspoken about how he wanted to bring a championship to Portland. I think he's changed his mind a little bit on that. But I just think if you are Damian Lillard and you don't like super teams, we can talk about this a little later. Yeah. But if you don't like super teams, it's kind of hard to win in the NBA nowadays if you're not on a super team, just because, barring injuries with this playoffs, the super teams obviously are running the NBA currently. So I just think it's kind of a rock and a hard place for him. Like, he doesn't like super teams, but he wants to win a championship. Guess you got to make a choice, right?
Interesting. Obviously, I believe the article also said a big reason. Excuse me, just giving all the facts here. A big reason that Damian Lillard has stayed in Portland is because of their tremendous fan base. He was one of the Trailblazers. Have one of the best fan bases in the NBA. He's obviously been loyal to them for a long time. I know Fredo and I talked about this on his past episode.
Yeah.
I think it's time for a change. He has tried. He is definitely stuck in there, definitely for a while. And I think you got to rebuild at some point. If you keep trying the same thing, it's known as insanity. And I think Portland keeps trying the same thing. I'm not saying Damian Lillard can't win a championship. I'm just saying the supporting cast around him, I don't think is going to be good enough if they keep the team the same. Obviously, we saw, they've made a playoff run or two, obviously, but usually they're first round exits. I'm not saying that in a derogatory or mean way.
Have been.
If you are Damian Lillard and say you are going to go out of Portland, where would you end up? I know you have a very interesting take that I told Fredo I was teasing this. Reveal your team.
Well, first of all, I want to say there's a difference in life between wants and needs. If I was Damian Lillard, I would want to go to the Knicks. I've mentioned that before on the program. But then I was thinking, and we were talking, I guess, off camera last night after you taped with Fredo, the Knicks are going to be like the Portland Trailblazers of the East. Like, you're not going to contend if you just obviously, trade assets will move. But you're not going to contend if you basically just drop Damian Lillard in New York. I think they're going to be an average team just like he would in Portland. So there's no reason to move if you're going, if your goal is to go to the Knicks. But big market. Everyone loves the Big Apple. But the team you should, really, really want to go to is the Boston Celtics. I think if you move Damian Lillard to the Boston Celtics, they are the best team in the East. And I don't want to, I can't say it. That's tough for me. So I've been a Celtics hater on it in the front.
You really have.
I have been. But I'm just saying, if you put Damian Lillard on the Celtics, I think they're the best team in the East. I think they're a better big three than the Nets. What's that? You don't think so?
I mean, I have to think about it realistically. They're definitely competing. I think.
So, but like,
yeah, finish it.
No, just like real quick, I'll answer. Because you think about it, the Celtics need a playmaker. They need a point guard. That's what they pursue. But Kemba, obviously, I think Damian Lillard's a lot better than Kemba. No offense to Kemba, Damian Lillard's just great. So I just think if you add him with Jason Tatum, who's obviously grown up a lot, or gotten a lot better and developed a lot better. He was great, coming into the NBA, but only getting older and better. And if you put him with Jaylen Brown, who's also developed very nicely for the Celtics, I'm just saying they have a lot of nice pieces there. If you don't have to get, I mean, I would give up Marcus Smart, but I don't. If you can keep someone like Robert Williams, who showed a little burst in the playoffs last year, Celtics might be looking pretty good in the East, my guy.
You know that Jaylen Brown's one of my favorite players in the NBA, and I would be fine with him going to the Celtics. I think they'll be definitely a top 2 team in the Eastern Conference.
Once Philly gets rid of Ben Simmons.
We'll see if that happens. I think he ends up, or I would predict he goes to the Knicks. I think it'll be interesting to see him play with LeBron James. I know it's not going to happen over here in LA on the West Coast. It's not going to happen. I'm just saying. I think that he does have a big personality. He does have that big media personality, and there is no media like New York media. They are tough on you. A lot of people say that when you're being drafted into the New York, no matter what sport it is, you are going to get written about positively, negatively, and it could switch every week. And that's just really how it is, or talked about on the radio, whatever, however they, do it out there. But I think it's going to be interesting because, like, a lot of people were talking about when Kevin Durant was making his move with Kyrie Irving and James. Yeah. Well, James Harden joined later. A lot of people were talking about Brooklyn. Why did they went to Brooklyn and they didn't go to New York? Because the Knicks will always be, it's always a Knicks town basketball-wise in New York. And I think it'll be interesting to see how he could propel them. I understand your argument of maybe the sporting cast in there, but they're a young team. They made the playoffs this season, and the Knicks fans blew up. But they made the playoffs this season. They have young talent, which is something he probably looks to. They need offense. I think they're very good defensively. They need offense. Obviously, he's one of the best scorers in the NBA. And so I think it's an interesting argument to play with Julius Randle. That would be something, and a lot of interesting pieces there in New York.
No, just 2 things.
Derrick Rose, if he stays.
I think he's going.
Yeah, I'm
2 things. No, 2 things I think about with the Knicks. First of all, I don't, like I said, I think if you're going to the Knicks, you're basically becoming Portland of the East. You're going to be a nice team that will never get over the hump. Unless they bring a superstar with him. Like, when Kawhi came to the Clippers and he demanded Paul George with him. If he demands somebody with him, then I change my opinion. But I just think if you drop Damian Lillard in New York City, there's nothing really going on. And second thing is, I don't know, and maybe this is me, and this is like, no, I guess reporting sense. This is just my opinion. I just don't think Damian Lillard would vibe with Tom Thibodeau. I don't really see Damian Lillard buying into what Tom Thibodeau is cooking. And I think Tom Thibodeau is a great coach. Obviously, he turned the Knicks around. He's had a great success in Chicago. Like, Tom Thibodeau is a great coach. Like, I'm not saying anything against him. I just think he rides his players so hard, and his players always lead the league in minutes. Like, I believe Julius Randle, he was definitely up there, but I believe he led the league in minutes, if I remember right. Or he was definitely up there. I just think, I don't know, man. I just don't see Damian Lillard and Tom Thibodeau being that match that you really want to see.
We will see a counter argument. The Eastern Conference is weaker depth-wise than the Western Conference. I think there's a chance that you could.
Yeah, sure. I think the West is a little overrated.
But I'm just saying, it's the natural argument over the past few years. Just the Western Conference is a deeper conference.
Yeah.
And you add a player like a superstar like Damian Lillard, you never know if you get through a few series. And I mean, it is hard in the NBA because you do have to beat a team 4 times. It's not like NFL; you can beat them.
The Thunder and the Timberwolves are always playing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but we'll see moving forward what Damian Lillard does. Obviously, we'll be continuing coverage of it because it's
Beantown.
It's an interesting development in the news, in the sports news in the past few days. Damian Lillard, according to Chris Haynes, might want out of Portland due to multiple factors. So we're gonna wrap it up here. A lot of coverage coming to you in the front row. We're going to continue covering the Drew League, which is exciting. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and the Western Conference Finals, the Eastern Conference Finals. So we're in that time of year, almost the NBA Finals coming up very, very soon once we decide winners here. Yeah, once we decide winners here in both conference finals.
Yeah.
So also we might do an Olympic show. Who knows? The Olympics are coming up here at the end of July.
The trials just ended.
Yeah, the trials just ended. Congratulations to Simone Biles. She made
Better than MJ and LeBron. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying, a lot of good
No.
stories from the trials. You had Simone Manuel making it back to the Olympic team in swimming, which was very, very exciting to watch. You had a lot of stories across the trials, so maybe we'll cover that as well. Guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Go ahead and subscribe, and we will see you next time.
My 2 tickets on me, I'm in the front row. The best place to be, I'm in the front row. Best place to be. So what's colder than ice and even hotter than a flame? I'll be in the front row, chilling out.